Good morning, and the title of today's chat is Hormesis Holistic and Homeostasis. Some of you guys might have heard of some of these words before, but I think having a concept around them is incredibly important in order for us to be able to improve all areas of our health, including mental health. The word hormesis is a Greek word meaning rapid action, and it's usually used when we are describing the different effects of drugs being given at different doses. So if you have a drug given at a very low dose, it can have quite a different effect to exactly the same drug given at a higher dose. Homeopathy might be an example of a tiny microdose of something being given, which would appear to have a different effect than something being given at a full dose. Homeostasis is another Greek word, and homeo is just the prefix for similar, and stasis just means balance. We use this word when we're talking about the systems of the body, and the body is an incredibly amazing machine which always tries to keep a balance happening. So we have a balance between our fight and flight response and our feed and rest response. We have balances between blood pressure and producing urine and all these different things that we're constantly, that our bodies are constantly trying to work out. Unfortunately, in the modern world, achieving this balance is getting harder and harder due to the different types of stresses that we're putting on our bodies. And you'll hear me mention this on quite a few occasions, but it's a very good framework to have the concept of stress broken into three parts, which are physical, mental, and toxic. Holistic just means looking at the whole of something as opposed to breaking it down into its parts. The myth I want to discuss today is that we are some kind of fragile machines that are just waiting to break down at any given time, and that we need to do all these preventative things through taking various types of inhibitors and medications and things to stop this imminent breakdown. I'm absolutely convinced that this is not accurate, and it is an idea that has been very successfully integrated into our thinking by the economies and the budgets of very big companies wanting to sell us products. The mechanics are that our bodies are in fact incredibly amazing machines, and they are constantly trying to fix and help us out. And what happens is we have subtle warning signs that something is about to go wrong. Due to the stresses in our lives, we oftentimes tend to ignore these, and these subtle warning signs mean that we haven't listened to our bodies and something much bigger happens. So we sort of break down and we end up with quite a serious medical condition which then needs treatment. And unfortunately, oftentimes it's too late to effectively treat the condition, and we end up getting very, very sick. One of the biggest mistakes, which is pervasive throughout medicine, and it just appears to be getting worse, is this lack of a holistic approach. So for example, you will see a neurologist for things wrong with your head, you'll see a gastroenterologist for things wrong with your gut, you'll see a dermatologist for things wrong with your skin. A great example might be having some sort of foot injury or knee injury, and due to compensating through walking in a different manner because our gait's put out, we end up with a neck problem. So we go to see the doctor because of the neck problem, and we get lots of treatment specifically for the neck problem, but with no focus on the fact that this was all caused by something in our foot or our knee. Another fantastic example is we often completely overlook some of the reasons for depression, which include insomnia and nutrition, and we have an overt focus on fixing some psychological problem which is keeping us depressed, and we totally miss out on the fact that our lifestyles are playing havoc with our mental health. So this is where this idea of hormesis comes into play. Hormesis is a concept where we can put stress on something and we can get benefits from this stress. A good example might be athletes jumping into ice baths after performing, or going to saunas where the temperature is extremely hot, fasting, high intensity exercise. So the takeaway message with this conversation is that when we're unwell, especially if we have mental health problems, we seek comfort and we strive to avoid things that make us feel uncomfortable. This is actually a very, very big mistake. We should only be looking to avoid the stresses which are causing our problems. So this is the negative stresses, and we have to actively seek the other stresses which can lead to healing. So those things that you think may cause you discomfort when you feel you need to rest are possibly the things you need to be looking at. So that is getting out, not isolating, modifying your diet, and not doing these intuitively comforting things such as sitting in front of a television, eating bad foods, and on and on and on. The challenge is, when you're not feeling well, is to get up, get going, get out, and experience what is an absolutely beautiful world out there. I hope you enjoyed this chat, and please share this with somebody who you think needs to hear it, and I shall bring you the next discussion very soon.